Hello, sentient friends, and thank you for joining us for another Wisecrack Live. We'll be with you in just a moment. This is Henry here saying thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit that like button. We do currently have 140 people watching and only 30 likes. Let's get that number up a bit.
Hey, what's up, free thinkers? And those thinkers boxed in by ideological structures outside of their control that they were forced into because of, I don't know, political, educational, or religious systems. What's up? It's Wisecrack Live. It's me, Michael Burns, here with producer Henry. It is February still. Normally I say the date, but let's just say it's February still. I think this will be the last stream in February, though. Yes, it officially will be. I'm excited to be here with you all. Hello to everyone in the chat. Mellow is bragging about 80 degrees in Florida, but that's fine. Due to Bides has a snowstorm. We had some hail here in Los Angeles today, which is unseasonal weird for us. So everything's dying. Um, let's see, a lot of stuff. Matthew said, let's see, Irish American poster child Michael B, OG Well, actual guy Adam C, and Johnny H with the jug of milk. Whitest episode ever. That's totally fair. That's totally fair. And it is what it is. Um, just proud to be an Irish American poster child. Um, well, thanks to Reader, and thanks to everyone who does wild things like likes the stream before you even know if it's going to be good this week. But I think it will be. So as always, like the stream, we appreciate it. Today, what is on the docket? Mostly hanging out. Where I hopefully no emotional breakdowns for me this week, but who knows? We're gonna watch some videos, and today I think we're just gonna like watch some stuff that's fun. And some of you have probably seen some of the videos we're gonna watch today, but keep in mind you haven't watched them with us. You haven't watched them with this chat. You haven't watched them in this community, but there's this newer Adam Conover video from his channel about corporate mergers, which is interesting because it connects a lot of ideas in interesting ways. Might talk a little about human nature, and thank God to us, our boy Johnny put out a new video, and it's on milk, and I have not watched it. So, a thing that you should know whenever we do Harris hole diving, I try to keep myself completely pure, like a young Mormon teen, until the second that we hit play. So I have not seen it, so we'll check it out. And there's some other things. I will say we have a deep playlist today. We will not get to it all. There's even maybe a little recent Legal Eagle video on there, and there's one video on here today that came via Mellow Jello's recommendation on the Discord server. Hopefully, we get to that. Yeah, I'll say it. People can recommend videos that we can watch in the Wisecrack live chat on our Discord server, which you can get on. You can if you join either Patreon or you join this channel. Um, what else? Oh, I did an interview. I think it's going to go online soon. There's this channel, and I'm forgetting the name of it. I'll remember it later. That this very nice guy started, where they're interviewing people that work in YouTube about content and YouTube and the landscape and everything. And I filmed the interview last week. They sent me some clips. When it's up, I'll share it. Maybe we'll watch some of it on here, and I can critique myself. But I went into it, and it was like a Friday afternoon. It was after last stream, and I was just thinking, like, okay, Michael, don't say anything crazy. Like you maybe got all the crazy out on the stream. So you're just gonna have a nice interview. You're not gonna get fired. And then 3 questions in, the guy got me talking about Mr. Beast. And it was just like, damn it, I don't want to get fired. But I thought he made a good point, and I'm just bringing this up because we've talked about Mr. Beast here before. We had the video come out a week and a half ago. This will be my final thoughts on this. But this guy, I just feel so bad. Why did I forget his name right now? I'm a horrible person. But he brought up the idea that like someone like Jimmy from Mr. Beast isn't really like a creative person. He's just a business person and he's really good at it. I thought that was a good point. And then Emma Chamberlain got interviewed, big YouTuber Emma Chamberlain got interviewed in the New York Times, and she made the same point because they asked her about Mr. Beast, and she was just like, she's like, I'm kind of like a creative person, likes to make stuff. He is a business person. Those are different things, and we evaluate them differently. And I was like, yeah, wow, Mellow Jello decided that no one else will be Lord of the Chat other than them. You might be noticing green usernames in the chat. Um, those are members. And sometimes people like Mellow Jello like to gift them. And because the only type of monarchy we believe in is a YouTube membership based one, then we do that. Someone's talking MILF Manor. Someone else is talking about DILF Manor. What about uh, Giflif Manor? Grandfather, I'd like to. Okay. Um, I've 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 stopped watching MILF Manor. I should catch up again, but it's pretty it's both grim and just a poorly constructed reality show, which is
Yes.
disappointing. Have you watched any of it, Henry?
Yeah, I've been keeping up with it, and half my interest is in how poorly like considered it is as far as like any sort of contest structure. Like somebody got voted off once, they haven't come back to that at all. There's no central host. It's a show barely holding itself together. So the production angle of it is really curious to me, on top of all the weird Oedipus stuff from the premise itself.
Yeah. It feels like they're making it up as they go along. And I respect bad content, but make bad content well. Speaking of the recent Ant-Man movie, John said, "What's the difference between a Patreon membership and YouTube?" Good question. I'll answer that really quick. If you're a YouTube member, you get your green username, you get emotes, your comments go to the top in chats here. You basically are a upper class citizen on YouTube, and you also get to jump on our Discord server. If you are a Patreon member, and I wish there was a way these could all just be one thing. Maybe at one point they will be. Um, if you are a Patreon member, you get access to the Discord. You get our videos the day before with no ads sent directly to you, so you don't have to worry about all the ad shit. Um, and you get extra audio and video content and some other stuff. But you get more perks with the Patreon, I guess, in a more general way. Damn, on fam said my house is called MILF Manor every night. Oh yeah, you freak. What are you doing? What are you doing? um, well, thanks for Jen for John finally made it to a live show. Glad you're here. Henry, did you see? We're not going to get too into it, although this is something I'd love to talk to Dr. Professor Christopher Maverick, PhD, professional wrestler about at some point. Did you see the Ant-Man movie, Henry?
I have not.
Okay, if you saw the Ant-Man movie in chat, I'm curious what you think. I'll give my spoiler-free account right now. It is a fun, bad movie. I had a fun time when I was sitting in the theater for those 2 hours. When I thought about it afterwards, it's pretty bad in a lot of ways. Tons of plot holes, really feels like it's patched together and that Marvel was kind of like moving things around as they went. But it's funny and there's some good stuff. One thing I would say is it makes me worry about the Rick and mortification of the MCU, because the writer of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, also it should not be called Ant-Man and the Wasp because she is barely in it, but um, but Ant-Man, but the writer Jeff Loveness, former Rick and Morty writer, and there's a lot of Rick and Morty stuff in the thing, a lot of Rick and Morty stuff, which is fun, but it also takes away from, I think, some of the, I don't know, plot and relationship stuff we need in this thing. But let's maybe wait a week or two till everyone has a chance to see it. And then maybe I could see if Dr. Professor Christopher Maverick, PhD, man about town, podcaster, wrestler, wants to come on and talk about it. But yes, Sean Ring of Doom said Quantumania was fine, not great, not bad. Ryan said wasn't the worst one. Yeah. A Devil's Advocate says, anyone else going to watch Cocaine Bear? I'm absolutely going to watch Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, Cocaine Bear and Creed 3. I'm a bit more I'm prioritizing those more than Ant-Man and the Wasp at this point.
Yeah. In the chat, Jordan said the Wasp they're referring to is Janet, not Hope. Well, that's fair. If we're referring to Janet, that's fine. It's just a little confusing because last movie we had the Wasp and it meant Hope. But Janet, I guess, believes in vaccinations or something, so they gave her more lines. Vox says that their review is it's fine, nowhere near as bad as the internet wants to pretend. It's fine, had fun, stop thinking about it an hour later. Yes, it's definitely not as bad as the internet wants it to be. The writer of the new Ant-Man said he wrote a screenplay on the level of Dune. Okay. Thornback says, I am Cocaine Bear. Oh, shit. And Wheelie Wannabe says, midterms, I can't keep up. It's hard. Shouts to everyone who's still in school doing tests and midterms. Really hated school. I hate testing, all those sorts of things. What's going on in the channel? Since we were last together, only one video came out. Bad people, good art. What now? It actually came out right before the last stream. It's the video that you all helped crowdsource. Before we really get into it, so we're gonna watch the video. We're gonna watch the new Adam Conover. We're gonna talk about corporate mergers and why we love them. We're gonna talk about milk with Johnny Harris. We're gonna go deep into the Harris hole. Pay attention because later today, Wisecrack producer extraordinaire Olivia made us a new thumbnail that we're going to use on the stream whenever we do a Harris hole. We should also find like a graphic maybe we can do on OBS or something, Henry, that's like a border or something for Harris hole, but we can cross that bridge when we get to it. Husk just got off work. Glad you're here. Glad you're off work. As Blink 182 once said, work sucks. I know. But we're going to do a Harris hole with the new thumbnail. We're excited about that. And we just got some other stuff to watch. And we're going to hang with the chat. I want to see what you guys want to talk about today. So let's do it. But let's look at some comments. I guess I'll maybe go in the order at which they showed up when I sent them to you, if that works, Henry. Or
I have them loaded up in the order you sent me them over the messenger.
perfect. So these are some comments from some recent videos. I like reading comments. I had fun when we did it last time. This one I thought was really sweet. And just so you know, if any of these comments are yours, I'm taking the usernames off just because I don't know. I feel like you didn't ask when you left that comment on YouTube, you didn't consent to us putting your username on the stream. So I just want to have some respect for you. So first one's up. So this is the ever since I was young, right? Henry. Awesome. So this is from the video on good men and bad. Good men and bad art. Bad men and good art. Comment says, ever since I was young, I've been a huge fan of Mythbusters and Adam Savage. I think this is so cool that this person like really is into Adam Savage. Specifically, he's such a cool dude in so many ways, and I genuinely admire him. I don't know if any of you have watched Mythbusters before. That show is so good, and I too, at times in my life when I was younger, especially, like Adam Savage rips. I even like some of his philosophies enough that I've adopted them. He's played a part in me becoming the person I am today. And that's really important, right? When we have someone on TV and film, on podcast, on YouTube and literature that we look up to, we can then form an identity around that person and feel attached to that. So this person says, because of this, it would devastate me But it turned out he was a shitty person and made me question some of my own values, beliefs, and ideas, not to mention my judge of character. I think that's one of the main reasons that people struggle with defending shitty people whose work they love, because acknowledging that those people are shitty can mean that the things the person took from that person are also shitty for sure. Um, I think the idea that we can form identities, personalities, values around other human beings, it involves us ascribing some value and goodness to that person. We find out they suck, then we're going to feel bad. I'm curious for the chat and for Henry. I'll say this for myself. Who are people? And Henry, if you don't have anyone for this, don't worry about it. But I'm wondering if anyone has people in their life they feel like this about, right? Someone that you look up to, someone who you don't know personally, that's a media, entertainment, creative figure that you've really learned a lot from, feel like you identify with, that if you found out they were really shitty would bum you out. Do you have anyone that falls into that category, Henry?
Give me a
And no worries if
moment,
not.
because like I don't have one that immediately comes to mind. I feel like I've lensed it so much as like understanding like most people are going to disappoint me that I don't think I really have one in mind
Yeah,
that I hold in like that high a regard.
that's very smart. Um, let's see. I'll look at someone in the chat. Um, And real quick, I'll just talk this. Kevin Vanderpleg says, might be a dumb question. It was years ago. What happened to the orange hair dude from this channel? Did he quit? Yeah, Jared, one of the founders and hosts of this channel, he left to do new stuff a few years ago. There's a video on the channel with his goodbye letter. He has his own channel now as well. You can check it out. He lives in Finland, is doing well. So yeah, just so you know. Um, let's see. Sam said John Oliver. Yeah, that would bum me out if we found out bad stuff about him. It weirded me out a little bit when I found out that his wife is like this Republican military person, but then we shouldn't judge people based on their spouses. I wouldn't want people to judge my wife because she was married to me, which I get it. Husk said Kanye West. Tough hang there. Alex said Tom H. I'm going to assume you mean Tom Hiddleston. James Maynard Keenan said letter W. That's the guitarist and singer from Tool, right?
yeah.
I might be wrong. Rowan Atkinson, Tom Hanks. I know that some of these are real and some are. MJ, come on. Ricky Henderson, Stephen Colbert. Yeah, Stephen Colbert's whole brand is that he's like a good dude. Um, Stevie Wonder. They might be giants. Fiona Apple. Fiona Apple's good. She's cool. If you don't know what Fiona Apple's up to, look at the shit she's doing. It's cool. Henry Rollins, Anthony Bourdain. Ooh, Anthony Bourdain's tough. I just read the most recent biography of him, and while he's cool, our guy had some dark shit going on. Mark Hamill. Yeah, Nathan Fielder, the Green Brothers. Oh, Mel Brooks. Someone said me. I will never let you down. And yeah,
Nathan
and
Fielder
Husk,
would be a tough one.
that would be so tough. Aldous Harding. Husk, I agree with you. There was like Kanye West songs that have gotten me through crazy things in life, and some that I used to use when I was really down. So the Kanye thing is very hard. I think I've just been processing
Same.
that for a lot of years. I think I was pretty, not to be like I was there first, but I was pretty early on the Kanye lost it train. Like I let it go really quickly around the life of Pablo. I think I didn't, not holding on too long helped me. Hassan Piker, Trevor Noah, John Stewart, Josh Whedon. Yeah, it's tough. Michael Stevens from Vsauce. Someone said never meet Henry Kissinger. Do I have some news for you? Tom Green. Oh God, I love Tom Green. Jack Black, again, important one. Rihanna. Rihanna's perfect. She could do nothing wrong. If Rihanna does something wrong, it's good. That's how good Rihanna is. Like if she kills someone, it's just like, oh, that was good that she did that. Um, LeVar Burton, Guy Fieri. Oh my God, Guy Fieri. He's just the best. David Byrne. Yeah, David Byrne is kind of a dick, but I like him a lot. Bernie. Yeah, if something bad came out of Bernie Sanders, it'd be hard for me. But I have a boring one. I really like I'll do a couple really quick. Um I don't know, like if Joe Perro was a bad guy, that would suck. Now that I've built a personality around him, so that's maybe not a good example. My favorite songwriter is Jeff Tweedy from the band Wilco, and he's also written books. And I've read all of them, and I've learned a lot. And his discussions about mental health and art and things like that. And if I found out he was like a shitty guy, and he's also a lot of his brand as a person is he's with the same wife for a lot of years. He has been a good dad to his kids. He has his family. They do like a Instagram show where they all sing songs together, and that would kind of devastate me. Um, and like George Saunders, the writer, is someone I think is really cool, and if a lot of the things he says about life I found inspirational. So that would be tough. Someone said Donald Glover. Donald Glover's so enigmatic. We know nothing about him, which I think is cool. Someone said Joe Manganiello. Patrick Stewart rips. Oh, someone else loves Wilco. That's great. Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal seems like a good guy. I mean, God, don't. Yeah, but here's the shitty thing, guys. Just statistically speaking, at least a couple of the people that have just come up, we're gonna find something grim about. Ooh, Yvon Chouinard, the guy that runs Patagonia. Ian McKellen. Yeah, I mean, there was a period where, like Kanye, I've gotten over this. Ooh, Bo Burnham. Yeah, although Bo Burnham stole Phoebe Bridgers from Paul Mescal, which is hard. But then again, you can't steal a woman from someone. That was misogynist, toxic thinking on my part. Jim Carrey. Oh yeah. Anna Kendrick. So I was gonna say for a lot of my life, I really liked Bill Murray, but enough stuff has come out about Bill Murray that he's like probably not a good guy. So there you go. Ooh, Donald Glover tips well. There you go. But yeah, Keanu. How did no one mention Keanu? Yeah. But yeah, so I think we all have people there. The tipping thing's clutch. If someone's a bad tipper, they're a bad person. So it's simple as that. Terry Crews, yeah, he turned his life around. Anderson said, "How do you do, fellow kids?" Good. Okay, those are fun. But either way, I think that's why I liked that comment because it opened up that discussion. Bill Burr. Bill Burr seems like a solid dude. Someone has bad news about Jim Carrey. I feel like Jim Carrey's a little sus, but um, I think the main point here, right, though, is that we kind of, it's in separating the art from the artist, we're maybe able then to like do as someone says and not what they do. And I think it can give us that humility because think about all of us, right? We've all done shitty stuff or bad stuff or selfish stuff before. But in most cases, because we're not sociopaths, we wouldn't tell people to do that. People can mess up. So, oh no, Keanu hangs out with the LAPD. Logan, why'd you do that? Man, why did you do that? Someone said Bernie's an asshole to people. Yeah, but I think that's Bernie's whole point, though. He's like an old, cranky Jewish man. He's not like friendly. He's more like, I'll fight for you systematically with my life, but I don't want to talk to you. And I think that's part of his charm is that like he only cares about ideas and stuff. Okay, let's look at the next comment. Cool. Yeah, similar comment, but I hold art and artists separate, not only when they're bad, but also when they are good. This is important, right? I think this goes off the last one. I think if we're going to separate art and artist when they're bad, I think there's an importance then of doing the opposite. This is great. I want to enjoy the art itself and not think about the person behind it. Music is a great example, as there are many great musicians that I just wouldn't want to be around in real life. Yeah, a lot of musicians are the worst. A lot of them smell bad too. While the artist has intent behind what they do, it becomes something else as soon as we view it through our life's lens. The same picture can elicit very different feelings between two people, but their feelings are still legitimate. I like this, the idea that we can separate in that way too. And I think with music, especially, I don't know, I like a lot of improvisational music. And there's something I like about art that's made in a less intentional way where I'm going to sound like a hippie for 2 seconds. So plug your ears for 2 seconds if me being a hippie is going to ruin your life. But like when art kind of like happens and flows through someone and it's beautiful and it's great, whether that's improvised comedy or music or whatever, it's more just like the art itself that's cool and we don't have to worry about the person as much. So I think that's cool. Someone said no celebrity is our friend. It's true, unless they're like really your friend, unless you're like actually friends with a celebrity. But yeah, you know who your friends are? Your friends are your friends. You know who are not our friends? All the famous people we just listed, they are not our friends. Um, yeah, let's look at the next one. By the way, I thought those comments were good. Someone said Conan O'Brien. Oh man, he has to be a good guy. George. Oh, we're talking about art now. I'll say something wild. I like George W. Bush's art. I think his paintings are cool. There's like a weird twee style to them that I really like. I'll be honest, like I wish I painted like George W. Bush. I said it. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this one's long. So this one is from the stream last week. If you watched the stream last week, you might have seen me start to break down emotionally when we were watching a James Lindsay video where he talked about Paulo Freire. I thought it was cool. There was someone in the comments, I didn't put this up, who said, I love James Lindsay and I love Wisecrack. So more of this content. And I was just, I might comment on that later to say hi to that person. I really appreciate that someone has room for both of those things. And I appreciate that about that person. But this is from a teacher in Brazil. And if you didn't watch last week, this guy James Lindsay, who's a guy that writes things and says words out loud, wrote a book called The Marxification of Education. We watched a little bit of his appearance on the Moms for Liberty podcast, where he was introduced as a lady killer, because at some point this guy's probably gonna kill a woman. But he talked about the book, and he has this criticism of Paulo Freire. Paulo Freire wrote Pedagogy of the Oppressed. He's a Brazilian educator and educational theorist. Big point for Paulo Freire is the way we educate people is meeting them where they're at. And for example, if we're teaching people to read, they're going to have a better go at it if we teach them to read about things that matter to them. I promise Henry's going to talk. Letter W, Henry's already in the chat, just like, Michael, shut the fuck up. I want to hear from Henry. Listen later. We'll have a Henry session where I mute and Henry can say whatever he wants and I can't stop him.
Words.
Yeah. Okay. But so either way, that was the discussion we had about Paulo Freire, and James Lindsay said some stuff that was really out of pocket, criticizing a really important educational theorist. So in this comment, someone says, what are Wisecrack's political views? This is all I'm going to say now. Empathy. Wait, does someone have a dissertation defense? Oh shit, guys, Derek B is submitted his dissertation. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Congrats.
That's freaking huge. Yes. Yes. And Husk, thank you for bringing up the dry gang. I almost forgot about it. I want to like pay someone in chat to be responsible for archiving all the bits. You know what I mean? Like archiving all the weird stuff that comes up to make it a part of Wisecrack Live canon. Like I'll never forget Throat Share. There's some other stuff, but I thank you for bringing up the dry gang. And shouts to Callie, Zabarenko's working on their dissertation. Good luck. God, that's tough. That's tough. Let's see. Oh, and then someone, let's see. Sorry, chat. Oh yeah, and someone said, "What are Wisecrack's political views?" This is all I'm going to say for now. Whenever someone says, "What are," I would say our political views as a team. I think we all share collective values around, I guess, like taking a critical perspective towards systems of power and economic and cultural, mixed with a with a general like empathy and humanism. Henry, as someone who works with Wisecrack, you can correct me if that you feel like that is not, descriptive or whatever, but I feel like it's something like that.
Yeah, I feel you're on point there. The curiosity to explore.
Yeah, I think like a curious humanism or something like that. I would say that's, if we have like a corporate identity politics, it'd be a curious humanism, and then everyone who's a part of our team has their own journey. So, but that's all I'll say for the company. Oh yeah, I think it was Dry Dick Gang, DDG. Yes. Okay, so now that we've gone from talking about Paulo Freire, let's look at this comment. Someone says, I'm a Brazilian teacher, and I'm sad to say most people who criticize Paulo Freire around here don't even know what it's about. It's become a kind of norm in right-wing discourse to blame Freire for all the problems in the education system just because he is deemed our patron of education. In truth, Freire's work and influence was discontinued and undercut due to the military coup in 1964. One of the first things the military government did was banning and pursuing Freire. He was deemed a Marxist agitator, although he really never was a Marxist. And I think this is a good point as well, that like someone like Lindsay, and this is the thing people do, like when Jordan Peterson doesn't like something, it's postmodern. And he just like puts that sticker on a thing, and that means it's bad. I think James Lindsay is doing this with Marxism. If he doesn't like something, it's Marxist. But this commenter goes on to say, and that Red Scare-like approach to his work has been the norm since then. At least that crazy fella in the video explained his method somewhat accurately. Most of Freire's critics in Brazil wouldn't be able to formulate even that. What is clear to me in my experience as a teacher and student of education and political philosophy is that the right is fundamentally against education. Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed is the kind of work that, if fully realized in society, has the power to turn the power structures upside down. and that's antithetical to the liberal conservative right's entire project of maintaining the status quo and profiting off the misery of the working class. One can only dream that Paulo Freire had as much influence in the education system as the right says he does. Yeah, so I like this comment because if it was the case that Paulo Freire really had this huge influence in the education system, the system would be different, because it's not like, I went to public school in America, in a red state, and I wasn't actively taught to criticize systems and structures of power, except by my journalism teacher who always smelled like weed, and that's how I learned what weed smelled like. Um, and I do think that, like, and we have a little Wisecrack short coming out about this that I filmed yesterday. Um, but yeah, I think that, like, this comment gets at that point. Like, if the left had the control of education, then why would we live in a country, at least in America, that's just like that's been a right wing liberal capitalist country for however many years? We just don't see the fruits of that. Ooh, Alex Luft, thank you so much for the coin. Said about the idea of separating the artist from the art. I think about James Hetfield from Metallica, because back in the day, he was a huge control freak, which essentially made bassist Jason Newsted quit, but he's no longer that. I mean, that's sick when people can grow and change. And that's the great thing about artists who don't let, like, drugs and alcohol take them down, that they can grow. Elliot, thank you so much for that as well. Um, let's see. Mellow Jello said, that's most conservative takes at this point. If they don't like a thing, they just default to it's Marxist, socialist, communist. Yeah. Um, let's see. Catching up on chat. Wow. Funny sometimes just submitted their thesis. This is great. And partially using Freire. That's amazing. Really appreciate everyone's academic achievements. That's great. But yeah, so again, and that's kind of the reason I was getting so upset last week, because I just think what that person was saying wasn't true. Next comment. Oh, this is okay. So this is another stream comment, guys, because I read the stream comments. I do. Except last week I stopped reading them because someone kept commenting. Guys, I almost never delete comments. But someone after last week's stream, like immediately after, this woman just kept commenting and calling me an ugly commie. And like I would delete one and then it would be like, you don't deserve to hear James Lindsay's voice, you fugly commie piece of shit. And I was just like, whoa, lady, what did I do to you? Like, we already dealt with the fact that I got told that my voice isn't sexy, and now she was calling me like a fugly commie. I don't know, man. I just don't like bullying. But I'll leave comments up that say pretty aggressive stuff, but we don't like bullying. But this is a real um real wisecrack live head comment. So this is when we were talking about, so we have the 666 thing, and we were talking about what number would be the sort of Christ-like number we could get to on screen. Oh, Yonquil the vegan, thank you so much. It says, I think the good number in a Judeo-Christian sense should either be 888 or 1200. Those two numbers directly relate to their deity rather than 7, which seems to be a reference to divine labors rather than the deity itself. So if you want the opposite of 666, 777 wouldn't be the best number. Just a weird thing I came across years back, and it's a terrifying rabbit hole into people's crazy numerology. Now you've all been plagued by this useless information. P.S. If you can't tell, I was excited to finally use this info. Edit. Meant to say 12,000, not 1,200. I think it's going to be a while until we get 12,000. So there you go. Can I get fugly commie on a Wisecrack hoodie? Someone said that would actually be sick. Maybe I should do that. I want to make a shirt that says fugly commie. Fuck, I love that idea. Um, okay, speaking of fugly commies, I'm going to the next comment. Someone put this in the stream for the last one. They said Jesus was a communist. Was Jesus a fugly commie? The disciples, as each one was able, decided to provide help for the brothers and sisters living in Judea. So the disciples determined, everyone according to his ability, to send relief to the brothers living in Judea. I mean, that's from the Bible, and that's basically communist manifestos, from each according to his ability to each according to his need. So, oops. Michael, you did not miss the Harris hole. And for anyone who's here to get some hole, we're going to be getting into the hole in the second hour. Okay, cool. So that's comment corner. Thank you for joining comment corner. It's a new segment we're doing. Let me know if you like it. Also, if anyone ever, someone said, don't get me started on fugly capitalists. No, all ruthless capitalists are good looking. Let's see. Also, I'll say something. I'm gonna have a hot take too. This is my new hot take this week. I'm curious what you think about this, Henry. I don't know if I believe this, but my current new hot take is that political branding is kind of dumb. Here's what I mean by that. Politics is less theory and more action, right? So if I were to say, if this is hypothetical, if I were to say, like, I'm a communist, what does that mean? Because I could say, like, I agree with the theoretical political ideals of this school of thought, but that just means I agree with a set of ideals. To say that I am a communist would mean that I would be engaged in some sort of political collective activity oriented towards those aims. The same way if I were to say I'm a socialist, I'm a Republican, I'm a whatever. And I think that sometimes, and the internet makes this easier, we really glob on to these political identities when there's people. I could say I'm a communist, and someone else could say I'm a liberal, and someone else could say I'm a hardcore conservative. But most of us are just going to like go to our jobs and consume content and pay our taxes. And maybe once every 2 or 4 years, we vote a little differently. But at the end of the day, our like praxis as individuals is maybe like 2% different. So all that to say is this week's hot take for me after comments corner is I think we put way too much emphasis on those things. Thoughts, Henry?
Yeah, so before the alt-right moniker became kind of like the go-to kind of reactionary label, you'd have, dudes bordering on not wanting to call themselves conservative default to saying something like, I'm a classical liberal. Uh,
Mhm.
and it's one of those things that instantly would set off my BS meter because the whole classical liberal movement, it's like, you don't exist in like the late 1700s anymore. Like that was like a structural that ideology in part
Mhm.
requires like the structure to participate with and engage with on like in that mode as an individual. Like you might as well be saying, you're a monarchist or you're for the emperor. Like I mean as an individual, like you could say you believe that, but like how does that again materially like manifest as your participation in the structure?
Yeah, no, 100%. There's a few comments about like how we're all humans or something like that, or humans are not humans or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's why like when I even talk about some baseline of human empathy or understanding, I think that's a more helpful way to understand things. But again, like that's not to say that one shouldn't ascribe to certain political ideals or goals, but sometimes I just think we overdo it. I think is it Alain Badiou, a French philosopher, uses this term, the communist hypothesis, and I think he has a book that's titled that or an essay, which is really good on this question. But then I think too, someone brought up like, I just want universal healthcare. White thug number three. Um, I go by white thug number four. So um, I think that that's like that's the way to do it because I think rather than I'm this, I'm that, it's more like I want people renters in my neighborhood to have tenants rights. I want people to have healthcare. I want schools to do this,
I
and
would
then it's
like
like,
healthcare and rent control, please.
yeah, and I think that that's almost a more because think about it this way: if you go, guys, we're on this tangent, and we're on this tangent now, so let's go with it. Please like the stream if you don't mind; it means a lot to us. Um, if if I go to like a dinner with all my relatives who are all across the political spectrum, and I just come in like I'm a fugly commie, my values are that I'm ugly and that I'm communist. They might be like, A, you are right. B, they might be like, oh, I hate communists because blah, 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 blah. But if I talk to those same people and I say, hi, I'm not going to refer to my appearance, but then I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I just like really wish we had a society where like it wasn't so hard for people on the bottom. And, it'd be cool if like as a baseline, we at least said that like healthcare, education, and housing, let's just have those as a baseline or something. Even if that person didn't disagree with me, I bet you it would be easier to have a conversation if we started. Here's the other thing that's cool about doing that, and this is a little more Socratic and strategic. If you say, I'm a communist, I'm a socialist, and your uncle's like, boo, 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 whatever, they don't really look that bad because it's fine. Like some people hate that shit. But if you say to someone, you look them in the eyes and you're like, hey, I think it's like really important that everyone have healthcare. You put them in a position where they can't just say, you're bad because you're a communist. They have to look at you and be like, I think people shouldn't have healthcare. Or if you're like, I think teachers should get paid a living wage. Put people in a position where they have to look you in the eyes and be like, I don't. I think teachers should starve. There's a good like Socratic style there. But when again, I'm just spitballing, guys. I'm just spitballing. Um, let's see what action is going down in the chat. Lots of actions going down in the chat.
Kind of tangential or related.
Yeah.
Baudrillard has it's an essay called "The Conspiracy of Art," kind of just
Uh huh.
about the ways like art is a consumption project. It's kind of used to keep these sort of narratives going that we tell ourselves in place of material action.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Dead Card 13 says, you mean grouping things as black or white is completely useless in a world of gray? Hassan Harris says, power concedes nothing. ACAB says, we have to ask for freedom for who and to do what? Sir Frederick, we live in a society. Um, there's no free lunches. Start the conversation without knowing and telling the label you subscribe to. Yeah, I think that's good. The gosh darn Batman, great username, says my neighbor complains about socialism all the time, but he owns a business and realized a couple of years ago that he had a better productivity when he instituted profit sharing. Um, yeah, I think teachers should start. Makes a good clip. Um, let's see. Yeah, so I don't know, but again, guys, I'm just saying stuff. I'm curious what you all think about this, but sometimes I don't know if anyone feels it. I get bummed by the online discourse around stuff like this sometimes. And in general, I'm pretty used to um people saying crazy stuff online, but like, sometimes the like discourse around political stuff, and especially there's a certain brand of person who like hates that at Wisecrack we talk about this stuff. I'm just like, what do you want us to do? Like, we live in the world. We have to talk about these sort of things. But there you go. Johnny Graves said, would you argue that people that claim to be socialist or communist are in practice more capitalist because they participate in capitalism? Well, Johnny, I think the problem there, right, is like I could say I'm the biggest communist in the world, but then I'm going to pay my taxes to the state. I'm going to participate in my job at a publicly traded corporation. I'm going to contribute to my 401k, all the sort of stuff, because I still live in this world. And I have to have a baseline of material conditions just like exist. So I think that that's kind of the an unfair standard to have. And you know what that is? That's like when people say like people like what's the guy? Steven Crowder. Great guy, good friend of the show, Steven Crowder. Um, will do like the videos where he like owns liberals or socialists because they have iPhones. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, if you hate capitalism, you have a phone that's made from capitalism. It's just like, is the hegemonic economic, cultural, and ideological structure in the world. What do you want people to do, my guy? Um, but hey, people are gonna get mad if we keep talking about politics on here. They're gonna come to my house and kill me. Yeah, John Paulson said, you dislike the way the society is and you live in society? Sus. It's kind of like saying like, oh, your parents are conservative and you're not, why don't you kill them? It's not like that. Don't kill your parents. But hashtag no Menendez brothers. Um, let's see. But yeah, thanks for engaging that discussion, guys. Jake said, can Wisecrack make a video about the latest South Park episode? I'll be real with you, Jake. Here's what happened there. The most recent South Park episode came out when both myself and my colleague Amanda Shirker, who's a genius, were on vacation for a little bit. And because we were both on vacation for a little bit, we didn't jump on that. And the way the YouTube economy works is you got to jump on stuff quick if it's content based. So there you go. Um, Alexandra likes to mention unemployment and how it relates with corporate profit when discussing politics. And there's a lot of work to be done to improve society. Yeah, I mean, this is what I used to do. My late father was like vaguely, conservative, more in that like old Reagan way. He died before like the alt right and Trump were a thing, thank God. But what I found is when I was like a grad student that just read a lot and was like, I have ideas, when I would just come at him real hard, we wouldn't have good discussions. But if I would be like, well, what do you think about like unions? Like, what do you think about this? Do you think it's good that like some people have all the power and others don't? We just get a lot further. And I'm not trying to be a hippie here, guys. I'm really not. But I also just think we can't just like yell at each other all the times. I don't know. That said, I want to fight James Lindsay. Okay, so let's watch a little bit of this video that Adam Conover made about why mergers are destroying America. So, okay, this actually, I didn't mean to do this as like a transition, but I think some of the stuff he gets into in this video is a perfect version of what if you were going to talk to someone in your life that is more conservative in their economics and politics. This stuff is great because it's just like saying to them, like, oh, cool. So do you think it's good that all the concert tickets are $600? And if they want to be like, yes, it's good, then that's cool. But you can just say to them, like, this is the world you want to live in. And I think a lot of people who might think that like a certain type of corporate oligarchy rips want to be able to see Bruce Springsteen and Taylor Swift. Um, so let's watch a little bit of this. We might not watch the whole thing or whatever, but I think it really does apply to what we're talking about. We're at the 11:45 mark. So someone said, you know what grinds my gears, Michael? Pseudo participation in revolutionary movements and ideas. No, I agree with you there, Husk. I think it's like if you're gonna do the thing, do the thing. It's like a shit or get off the pot type thing. And what I mean by that is like if everyone who spent and like to be clear, I'm going to point at myself when I say this so you don't think I'm being hypocritical and judgmental, friends. If everyone who spent hours a week on the internet pontificating and arguing about ideas took 45 to 50 minutes a week to do some type of actual activity or organizing their community, things would be a lot better. So I agree with that. Again, pointing at myself. If you're just listening to this and you think I'm being a prick, I'm pointing at myself. I'm pointing at my ugly communist face with my voice that just dries it up. This voice will make you so dry, according to James Lindsay. So we're 11:46. If you're just tuning in, this is Wisecrack Live. Michael Burns here with producer Henry. This is the only place for weekly live Wisecrack content. Oh boy. If you're here, like the stream. It helps us if you like the stream, and because like we just said, we live under capitalism and it is what it is. I'm not going to lie to you. We need the algorithm to like us to keep our jobs. I'm never going to lie to you guys. So yeah, Beatmaster said actions speak louder than words. That's new. Seriously, what if I just invented that? Like, guys, what if our actions spoke louder than our words? What if I just thought I invented that and you had to watch that? That'd be really uncomfortable. But yeah, thank you so much for liking it. Thank you for being here. We're going to watch this Adam Conover video and talk about mergers. We're talking about milk later. We're going to the Harris hole, so don't worry. If you're here, if you are here, and you like being here and you want to support us, you can, if you want, you can join our Patreon. You can become a member of the YouTube page. But if you don't do those things, I swear to God, we love you just as much. But it does help us out. And of course, you get some extra content. I've talked about this the last few weeks. We're gearing up to do some more stuff on Patreon. I've gotten some good feedback on this. Some of you have given feedback, and I want more feedback about doing some shorter video series on the Patreon that just is like talking about philosophical ideas straight up, just getting into it. The other thing I'm wondering, and I'm curious about this, would anyone want I know we used to do podcast. I loved doing the podcast. It was my favorite thing we did. Does anyone want that anymore? Do people want audio? If there was if a Patreon perk was a consistent, every other week, full on podcast, would people want that? I'm just curious. So you can let us know in the chat. And as always, these all go up on VOD. So you can leave comments there. Collectivize Wisecrack, contribute to the strike fund. I know, I almost said something I shouldn't say, but there's things that people are saying in the chat right now that I think are important that I'm thinking about, but I'm going to make sure that I don't get myself in trouble. Okay, cool. And I'm saying this too, when I ask about the podcast thing, it's probably something right now I could only justify doing if we did it on Patreon, because we have to make money. Emily said, did you see the John Oliver piece on psychedelic therapy? I watched the John Oliver video. Oh, James, you are too sweet. You're going to make me blush, my guy. John Oliver did an episode Oh yeah, listen to Vox. Also, too, if you don't subscribe to Vox Podcast right now, go on whatever app you use, subscribe to Vox Podcast, give it a bunch of stars, listen to it. Our good buddy Christopher Maverick hosts it. It's really great. And I think it'll like scratch the itch of like wisecracky thinking about stuff. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Sorry, just looking at the chat here. But yeah, so maybe we will do something like a podcast in the future. But like I was saying before, if we do it, it'll have to be on Patreon or something that to justify it financially. I'm not just saying that to bullshit you guys. I really mean it. We're a small team and we're trying to do a lot of stuff. Dude abides, thank you so much. Is waiting for food at a restaurant. Am I actually the waiter? Are you, if you're doing a delivery, it's like you're a part of the waiter industrial complex while doing that. I don't know. So let's, again, thank you all for being here. Let's get into this video for a little bit. Appreciate you guys so much. Continue to like. Let's see if we can do a 666. Didn't we? I think we like got right under 666 last week. We got to like 636. So you know, we really missed out. And if you don't know why I'm talking about that, we are not a Satanist podcast. But when we get to 666 on live viewers, I do a Satan voice. I do a 666 Satan voice. Some people hate it, which is why I'll have fun going back to work. Synth Mick Poet. But once we get to 12,000, I'll do my Christ voice. Okay, let's watch a little bit of this. Yeah, Husk, we almost got there last time. Okay. Michael missed the joke. Guys, a lot of stuff's happening. I don't know what joke I missed, but a lot's happening. And also, I don't see every message. I have it in top messages mode because then it would just be crazy. Okay, here we go. I'm Adam H. Glad you're here. Let's watch a little bit of this video.
Why can't Taylor Swift fans...
I forgot. I turned the audio down. Let me turn it back up. Because then if I can't hear it, what are we doing?
Why can't Taylor Swift fans buy concert tickets without forking over their entire life savings? Why are all your favorite shows getting...
And just a fun fact, this video, this is creepy of me to know. This dude lives around the corner from me. So wherever he recorded this video is like just right over there. So a lot of so we're watching a video that was also made on my blog.
Canceled while boring crap gets season after season. And why are prices for everything going up while all of us make less money than ever? What if I told you that all three questions have the same answer? This video is about one of the greatest lies ever told.
Someone said it's loud on stream. Beatmaster said that.
Yeah, I'm adjusting it and kind of tuning it down as it goes because it is extremely loud.
All right, cool. 669 would be great, but let's get to 666 first, and then we'll get those extra three.
Told in America. It's about how the world's largest corporations tricked all of us into thinking that what's good for them is good for us. This one story explains why our economy is so unequal, so unfair, and...
Someone said get Adam on the podcast. We're doing the Harris Hole very soon. I think I might have told somebody this. Everyone's saying it's really loud. I think I might have told some of this before. Adam Conover performed at a monthly comedy show that I run, and I was going to maybe ask him about jumping on stream or whatever, and then he left before the show was over, so I didn't have time to see him. He left when me and my buddy were performing, so maybe we made him leave with our fugly comedy. Okay, let's watch a little bit of this, but we're going to get in the Harris Hole soon. Don't worry, friends.
So supremely... Well, I was going to curse, but YouTube will demonetize me if I swear in the first 15 seconds, so let's just say fudged up.
Very cute, like new YouTuber stuff right there. Also, it's like the first 30 seconds, Adam.
And it's about how all of us, including you, can fight back. Now, before we get into it, I want to thank everyone who supports this channel on Patreon.
I'm going to skip this.
Your
Patreon's
donations...
great.
Thanks you.
Thank you.
So, what on earth could be causing all of these problems? The answer is mergers.
Corporate consolidation. Monopoly capitalism.
The largest corporations in America have spent the last half-century buying each other up, becoming so huge that they've seized control of not just our economy, but our very society, making it less free, less fair, and undermining democracy itself. And I know, I seem pretty worked up, but I have been harmed directly by mergers, so I feel pretty strongly about it. And by the end...
When he came to our show, he wasn't doing like his worked up voice he does on the show in this, and it really confused me when he was just talking like a normal dude.
To this video, you'll know how corporate consolidation has hurt you too. But you know what? Let's start with the people who've been harmed most, Taylor Swift fans.
Good
So
graphics.
in late 2022, Taylor Swift fans, who are normally known for being cool-headed, not easily perturbed, models of honor.
Urinator, it's your job to come up with an Adam version. We have the Harris hole. What would be the version of that for Adam? You can come up with it, Urinator. It's your job.
Online restraint, if you will, lost their goddamn minds. The problem was two tiny words: Ticketmaster. When fans tried to buy tickets for Taylor's
Lisa
Eras
Hannawalt
tour,
rips.
Ticketmaster's website crashed. Fans faced brutal, multi-hour waits to buy tickets.
Are any of you guys people that want to get Taylor Swift tickets? Oh, Jack Scalbino's getting Jack in the Box. That rules. Yeah, let us know if you got tickets to Taylor Swift.
And when they finally were able to click purchase, their transactions wouldn't even go through. Huh, not much of a Ticketmaster, are they? You know, if my Dungeon Master fucked up this badly, our D&D group would just find a new nerd to invite to the basement. Do your job or be replaced, Brennan. But hold on a second. If Ticketmaster was
that's
busted,
the best part.
why couldn't all those Taylor fans just toddle off to a different ticket site? That's kind of weird, isn't it? I mean, when you fill up your car, you don't have to go to Gasmaster. When you need to buy a new tuba, you don't have to go to Brassmaster. So when we're buying our tickets, why are we forced to use these Assmasters? Simple. Because Ticketmaster has built a monopoly over the entire live event business. Ticketmaster is currently the exclusive ticket seller for 80% of the top performance venues.
Adam, I have taken my meds. I'm trying to be better. Adam, I'm trying to grow and not pause as much, okay? I'm trying to grow.
Venues in the United States. These venues are contractually barred from selling through any other service. So if you want tickets to their events, you are forced to use Ticketmaster's busted website and pay their convenience fees. There is nothing convenient about a fee.
Seriously, I don't get it. You buy tickets on Ticketmaster and they just list all these fees. And like, what are they doing? What are they? It's a digitally automated system. It's fucking crazy, guys. I really hate it. I really, really hate it. That's all.
If they were honest, they'd call it a because we can fee. Where else you gonna go fee.
Whoa.
Our
Nitesh was on the
dominance
antitrust
is so overwhelming
team.
that we can annoy the shit out of you on purpose just to make more money. Ha 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 fee. God, I hate them. God, I hate them. I hate them. Fuck, I hate them so much.
He yells a lot. I don't want to be too stalkery. I think he lives in a place where he probably doesn't have a neighbor right up against him. But he yells a lot.
God, I hate them. I mean, think about this for a second. Fans hate these fees. Fans hate Ticketmaster.
We do.
So why is one of the most hated companies in America used by so many venues? I mean, you'd think it would be bad for business to force your customers to use a broken service they load.
Oh, like the stream if you hate Ticketmaster.
Every time they want to give you money. So how has Ticketmaster been able to ram itself down our collective throats? Well,
ram itself down our throats. He's kind of talking about throat sharing.
Well, it's because of a big fucking merger that never should have been allowed in the first.
Letter W, we're going to be in the Harris hole soon. But I appreciate your anger. We're Harris holing very soon. We're going to do it in the second hour, and we're almost into the second hour.
Place. In 2010, Ticketmaster merged with Live Nation, the country's largest concert promoter. These two behemoths Frankenstein themselves into a monstrous new entity called Live Nation Entertainment.
I think I've told you guys this story, but I'm going to tell it again. We had this meeting once with our parent company where the then CEO was like, hey guys, let me tell you about a friend I used to work with. And he tells us this whole story about this guy, and he just loved music, and I met him working at this small company, and da-da-da-da-da. And then at the end of the story, he's like, and that man's name is whatever his fucking name was. And he started Live Nation. And then he was like, and at Enthusiast Gaming, we want to become the Live Nation for like gaming and esports and whatever. And we were all just like, woof. No one wants to become Live Nation. It's like the worst company. I was like, how out of touch are you that you think that we would want to become a Live Nation? But then the board kind of forced that guy out. So he must have not been a very good CEO. I'm covering my mouth. So if anyone from the company watches this, I'm going to be like, oh, I didn't say that. Someone added it. Henry did it. He's evil. But that's the thing. And Live Nation killed the kids at Astroworld. It's a horrible fucking company. We're in a Harris hole soon. Like the stream. How about this? If we get to 666, we'll Harris hole.
Single company now dominates every level of the live event business. They control ticketing, booking, and promotion for the vast majority of live events in the country. They manage
We have a
hundreds
video
of the
on this
biggest
if you haven't
artists,
seen it.
including U2, Britney Spears, and Madonna, and they even own and operate
Touring, it did
hundreds of
feel
the
like an
biggest
office
venues
skit.
in the country. This is what's known as a vertical merger, and it's dangerous because when one company gets control over every level of an industry, they gain power that they can use to squeeze out their competitors and
Henry, everyone defended you so quickly when I just made a little joke about throwing you under the bus. The Henry Hive, it just grows every
happening,
week.
yeah.
So yeah. Hey, if you like Henry and you like the Harris hole, like the stream, let's get to 666. Jeffrey Locke said, I'm very new to live streaming here. What's the Harris hole? The Harris hole is when we watch videos by Johnny Harris, but it's like a whole experience. I can't really explain it, but stick around and just see it.
fucko and workers. Now, at the time, everyone saw the disaster coming a mile away. Artists, fans, and venues desperately opposed the merger. Even Bruce Springsteen weighed in. That's right, the boss was against this thing. Who's going to disagree with the boss?
Bruce Springsteen, add that to the people, or if we found out he was a real piece of shit, that would suck. That would suck. Even if you
Yeah.
don't like his like music, like he's like one of the last, American good guys. So shout out to his podcast with Barack Obama. If you listen to that, good for you. Damn. Oh, we were getting closer to 666. Now we're getting further away. It's just like I can't get a fucking win.
Fortunately, his best friend,
kid.
Barack Obama, did. Despite the protest from artists and fans, Obama's Justice Department waved the merger through like it was a drone strike on a civilian apartment building.
Whoa! He waved the merger through like it was a drone strike on a civilian apartment building. That was pretty hard. He never got to go that hard on Adam Ruins Everything. I'm pretty sure as well. So Adam Conover did a show that was on Netflix. I actually haven't watched it. Let me know if it's good, friends. And I think the Obamas produced it. Like their production company did. And I just want to say that's cool as shit to take the Obamas' money to make a show and then be like, yo, you do drone strikes. Like I mean, I think that's really sick. That's very cool. Oh yeah, and 1,000 in stream. Just so everyone knows this, when the stream hits 1,000, I will take my hat off and you will see my naked skull. My skull tats are crazy too, so you guys are gonna like them a lot. But yeah, he went really hard there. I appreciate how hard he went. And again, Obama seems like a cool guy. He makes a nice list of books and movies he likes, but he did some drone strikes. Vox says, yes, they did produce his Netflix show. Oh, the show's called The G Word. Okay, nice. It's something, I'll watch it maybe next time I'm sick. I say that in a way that I don't mean to be disrespectful, but there's certain shows that are just like, kind of like docuseries type stuff. When you're a little sick, I want to lie on the couch and watch that.
Obama's top prosecutor actually praised the merger, saying there will be enough air and sunlight in this space for strong competitors to take root, grow, and thrive. I mean,
there are no he's going to say that, but like there are no competitors.
This quote is from the person whose job it is to stop mergers. This is like a homicide detective praising a serial killer. Sure, he dismembers and eats his victims, but his plating is beautiful. Now, Obama officials claimed at the time that there wouldn't be any problems because Live Nation and Ticketmaster promised in writing that they wouldn't abuse their power and bully anyone.
Once I was drunk at a party with some people that were like very kind of like Democrat, liberal, like people who like, in talking about political ideology, people who are just like, I am a proud Democrat. And I think, hey, what's up, Royale? Glad that you're here. And I made some comment. And again, I was drunk. I was like, who never droned anyone? Trump didn't drone anyone yet, and Obama did. So that means I guess Trump's a better president. And I didn't mean it, but I said it just to piss people off. And they got really mad at me. And then like people started yelling at me. And then my wife at that party was just like, what are you doing? These are my friends. And I was like, they get it. I'm joking. They get it. I'm joking. And they know that I'm funny, but they didn't. And I wasn't being. So I would say don't get drunk and try to agitate people, guys. Agitate at your workplaces, not there. John, have good lunch. It's 2 p.m. You got to eat lunch, John. You got to eat. It's Central Time. You got to eat lunch. You're a strong Midwestern man and you got to eat.
Pinky swear, guys. You can't break a pinky swear. Well, this might shock you, but Ticketmaster and Live Nation fucking lied. The government found that almost immediately after the merger closed, Ticketmaster started retaliating
No, you're right, Mel. Trump did bad stuff. I was just being a total dick at a party.
against and threatening venues throughout the United States. If a venue even hints that they might
I
use a
loved
competitor's
Patriot Act.
ticketing
The show was
system,
so good.
Ticketmaster threatens to pull every Live Nation artist from that venue, starving them of business. One venue that signed with a much smaller competitor called AEG got an intimidating email from a Live Nation rep saying,
So Nitesh says you should cover the battle at the FTC. It's being led by a 32-year-old Democrat who's bent on breaking up monopolies, but she's up against the might of big law firms. She's lost a bunch. Oh, I want to look into that. Nitesh, what's the person's name? I guess I could just Google FTC, but that sounds really interesting. Yeah, and maybe so 1,666 Satan voice, 1,000 naked head. I would say that maybe letter W. Thank you so much. Maybe there's a level we get to where I just have to drink 6 beers on stream or something. I keep thinking about, doing some type of like 24-hour, 12-hour, some type of stream. And if we did that, I'd have to drink. But then it was like, if we did that, Henry would have to have absolute power to cut my mic at any point. So there you go. Oh, Hassan's new Netflix special. I haven't seen that. I want to look at it. Hassan Minaj's show is so good. Patriot Act was so good. I have a story about trying to work on that show, but I won't share it. But go ahead, Henry.
Homecoming King's a really good comedy special as well.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good. Yeah, I haven't watched. I want to watch the new Mark Maron comedy special. If anyone's watched the new Mark Maron special, let us know. Check it. Wow, and you worked for Live Nation during the takeover. That's crazy. And they took all the fun hippie vibes out of it. Yeah. And Devin says 2,000 and stream with a bad wig. Definitely.
that they had an issue. 3 little letters. Can you guess what they are? Holy shit, these guys are like the mafia. If the mafia's entire racket was overcharging you to see Ed Sheeran, what's up with this guy? He's like the Shrek of pop music. Using these strong arm tactics, Live Nation Ticketmaster has built an impregnable monopoly.
Oh yeah, and an 8 push-ups at 800. We got to do. I'm getting really out of shape, guys. So we need to get the stream up so I get in better shape.
For the live music industry. Fans hate them, venues hate them, artists hate them, but we are all stuck with them.
And that's the crazy thing about the Ticketmaster stuff too, is I think we often think about it from the side of we are getting fucked as fans and consumers of music. And we can get mad at the artists, but like artists are getting completely fleeced by this shit too, especially like indie bands and stuff like that. So there you go.
Even Bruce Springsteen is on tour this year with Live Nation. Tickets available through Ticketmaster. Turns out the E in E Street
6
Band
scheduled
stands for
35 bars. I
expensive.
would see God.
Thanks, Max.
Or
Gathering
Satan.
to listen to live music is one of the oldest, most beautiful, most fundamental human activities. But
really
we've
agree with
allowed
that.
one company to dominate it, ripping off artists, charging fans exorbitant fees, and making live music so expensive that
Okay, we're going to do the Harris Hole very soon, everyone. We won't watch this whole video. Harris Hole, very soon. It's coming.
many people can't even afford to go anymore. Now, by the way, I make my living performing live too, so I'm pissed off about this enough already. Speaking of which, I'm going on tour this year. Tickets available at adamconover.net/tour dates, not Ticketmaster. But I was also
Saw some of his new material when he came to try it out at our show. I won't spoil it.
also screwed by a different merger, and I'm even more pissed off about that.
This one's, let's watch a little bit of the Hollywood one. You all can finish this on your own. I think a lot of you have watched it, but I think this one is really clutch. Okay, we're getting close to 666. And yeah, someone said same with Spotify for sure. Here's my, someone said, what about your meds? The Spotify thing I think is important is like, I totally understand using Spotify. I use Spotify. Here's my thing. Morally, if you have the money to do it, I think that if you use Spotify, you should buy concert tickets from your favorite bands when they're in town, and you should buy merch directly from them to support them. Because I get it. Like it is monopolistic in terms of its access to music, and many of us can't afford to spend $15 on every album or whatever. But I just think like the artists that you really, really fuck with, if you listen to them on Spotify, that's fine. but just support them in other ways. And to be honest, they're going to make so much more money if you buy a t-shirt directly from them than if you listen to their music a billion times on Spotify. So, Logan Reese says, F Ticketmaster, go to a Dead City punk show. I mean, I think like if you like music, find local music that you like, and support it. That one accountant said, just wanted to share, started my new better paying job. Hell yes. And is concerned about how easy it is to my old job, but it's good so far. Hell yes. Also a thing, guys, sometimes you realize this, you get better jobs and they're all easier and it's all bullshit. And the more money you make, you're like, none of this is real. But again, it's covering my mouth for that. Yeah, they are bad. Yeah, you can buy directly from the artist. Yeah, but give money to artists whenever you can. Anyone who makes things you like, give them money when you can. White Thug, Bandcamp. Yeah, Bandcamp's great. If you can use Bandcamp, you should. Let's watch a little bit about this Hollywood merger thing.
So, I've talked about this publicly before, but my show, Adam Ruins Everything, was canceled because of a merger between my network True TV's parent company, Time Warner, and AT&T. When the merger closed, to cut costs, the new bosses fired everyone at the network and then canceled almost every show. Now, don't worry, I landed on my feet. I mean, look at me. Now I'm on YouTube.
Oh, so it's bad to be on YouTube. Cool. Now I feel like an asshole.
Please smash that subscribe button. But the AT&T Time Warner merger turned out to be such a historic disaster that almost as soon as it closed, they tried to figure out someone else to sell Warner to. And that buyer turned out to be Discovery and its CEO, David Zaslav.
And I know this stuff's like kind of in the weeds, but this merger is just like the craziest shit and just really shows how the whole media industry is people playing with fake money that have no idea what they're doing.
In order to pay for this mega merger, Zaslav announced that he would be cutting over $3 billion from Warner Discovery's budget. He then proceeded to fire hundreds more people and then took a blowtorch to the entire Warner content library. He removed content from HBO Max. He canceled movies and shows that were already done and ready to be released, and he specifically targeted animation.
So actually, just a fun thing. The video we filmed yesterday that's coming out on Wisecrack is about animation and why animation is so fucked, and adult animation in particular. And we have someone who works for us, who writes for us, and that's awesome writer, comedian, performer, Rachel Van Ness. She's brilliant. Look up her work. And she was doing some writing for Wisecrack. We loved it, and then she left. Thank God, good for her, to go work on a Netflix animated show. And they were working on the show. The writer's room is going. They're getting ready, and someone just like comes in the office basically one day and is like, "Oh yeah, we canceled it. Yeah, we know you're already writing the show and working on it, but yeah, it's done." And that sucks. Selfishly, it means that Rachel gets to write for us some now, which is great because she's brilliant and funny and everything. But yeah, so she helped us work on that video. So we really got someone who like lived experience, guys. That's what it's all about. Who helped us work on that. Like the stream, we're getting close.
Beloved shows like Infinity Train, OKKO, and Tuca and Birdie, which, yes, full disclosure, was created by my romantic partner, the talented and beautiful Lisa Hannawalt, who I am deeply in love with. But fuck you, it was a beautiful show with tons of fans that people actually cared about, goddammit! Then, just a few weeks ago, they announced that they were raising the price of HBO Max. They're literally charging you an extra $1 not to watch Batgirl. Wow. Paying more money for less choices.
Guys, they canceled Southside. I can't believe I didn't bring this up till now. You might know this. I brought it up before on What Are You? Southside, I think, is the best comedy show currently being made, or that was currently being made. HBO Max canceled it. Fuck. I'm so bummed about that. If you haven't watched Southside, just watch it a bunch so at least HBO Max sees people watching it and being like, oh, maybe we fucked that one up.
Merger really benefited the consumer, didn't it? Now, personally, I think if you're an entertainment company, burning your customers and your artists by raising prices while wantonly destroying the art that people pay to see would be kind of bad for business. But you know what? I'm no big shot with an MBA. It probably generated a lot of money for the shareholders, right? After all, that's what capitalism's all about. So let's just check the old stock ticker and, oh God, no.
I mean, that's the problem too, to kind of connect back to our conversation about talking about politics and economics and ideology with people that maybe believe different stuff than you. All the stuff that we're told to believe is good, like these types of corporate mergers and acquisitions and all this, like they don't work. Like they don't make money. They don't make more. Like they just don't work. So there you go. Okay, guys, we're Love Life on FAMSA. I like that show a lot. Let's Henry, you want to put up the Harris Hole thumbnail now, and we'll start that in a second.
Yeah, I'll get on swapping
Awesome.
that image.
Cool. Harris Hole's
Dave,
coming, guys.
Now everyone hates you and you're broke? Buddy, this ain't good. But ragging on Zaz isn't the point. Plus, my Writers Guild health insurance is expiring soon, so I need some work. Come on, David. Adam Ruins Everything, the movie? Think about it, you genius titan of industry.
I did a similar bit to what he just did there in a video that's coming out tomorrow, but it's about Lockheed Martin. Oh yeah, guys, tomorrow we have a video coming out, and this isn't a bit. I let ChatGPT write it. ChatGPT tried to write a Wisecrack video 3 times, and I just do them as it's scripted. The visuals, we did what ChatGPT told us to. That comes out tomorrow. Please watch it.
The point is that it's not good for any one person to have this much power over this much of our media ecosystem. Through his control of Warner Discovery, Zaslav now runs HBO, HBO Max, Warner Brothers Pictures, New
Almost
Line
in the Harris
Cinema,
Hole, guys.
Food Network, Discovery Channel, Cooking Channel, Travel Channel, Animal Planet, Cartoon
Hell
Network,
yeah.
Boomerang, Adult Swim, Cinemax, CNN, HLN, TBS,
That's a lot of
TNT,
channels.
True TV, HGTV, TCM, OWN, ID, TLC, and DC. You
TLC, the makers of MILF Manor.
letters, this guy fucking owns them. That means that one man's whims and preferences dictate which stories artists get to tell and what hundreds of millions of people get to watch.
Okay. I like this video. A lot of good stuff here. I think we should go to the Harris Hole. If anyone violently disagrees, let me know. Henry, do you think it's time for the Harris Hole?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, guys. So this video, again, it's on Adam Conover's channel, The Lies Destroying the Economy. It's about mergers. I think it's good. You should go finish it. Sometimes I feel like I'm being a helpful YouTuber when I do the thing where we start a video and don't finish it. Because then it's like, hey, if you haven't seen it, go to their channel and watch it more and give them some views. You know, I'm a real man of the people.
Let's learn about milk.
Yeah, guys. Okay, so if you've never been in here before, here's what we have going on, guys. We're and seriously, go to Adam's channel, and if you like watching Adam, let's watch his videos more. I want to, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to serve you. But we go to the Harris Hole. What is the Harris Hole? It's one, violent disagreement. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Next time I'll make you happy. The Harris Hole is when we watch Johnny Harris videos. Why do we like Johnny Harris videos? They're so well made, and they're sometimes good. They're sometimes a little off. We learned about Miso Mondays, all this sort of stuff. Also, with that interview I did last week, the person was basically like, somehow Johnny Harris came up, and I was like, oh, we love him on my stream. And this person was like, yeah, like I watched the stream to prep, and like, what's the Harris Hole? And I was like, oh, this is the first time in a real life situation, while on camera, a very nice human being had to ask me to explain what the Harris Hole is. I tried my best. I also think that's going to be in the interview that comes out. Oops. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Celeste said, if you stream an entire episode that an app wrote, can you legally monetize it? Serious question. I'm curious about that. Celeste, I don't know. I did the parts of the video. I like speak in between it. That's really me. And I forget if that video is sponsored. And I'll say this again while covering my mouth. I had to record another ad yesterday for a thing I don't like doing ads for. And I tried to give you guys the dead eyes so you can tell me if I did it right. I'm not going to say anything else in that. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's learn about milk.
I like milk for all the good, healthy things that are in it.
Guys, we used to drink milk as kids. Our parents would give us glasses of milk. That feels psychotic now.
The year is 1981. Raiders of the Lost Ark is the
I was not alive
movie,
then.
and everyone is wearing leg warmers.
Abhinav said, sad, no map porn. Buddy, we're getting maps. We're in the Harris Hole. We're getting maps. Like, just I mean, literally, people say, like, don't hold your breath. Hold your breath. We'll get maps.
You've got this former actor turned politician who's now
Reagan.
president, and he loves free markets, and he has a big problem. It wasn't the national debt or some big foreign policy
I see a map. I see a beanie. We're talking free markets. We're talking milk.
issue, though he had plenty of those. His problem was too much cheese. The government was sitting on this giant stockpile of processed cheese that was in some cave in Kansas. Hundreds of millions of pounds. And it was starting to turn kind of gross.
We've got 60 million of these. We can't find a market for.
There was so
Ew.
much cheese that
Wow, the world didn't want America's finest cheese from a fucking cave in Kansas?
one official said that the best thing to do would be to dump it in the ocean. So Reagan decides to give it away for free to America's poor. The cheese was to come out of the caves and into the American welfare system.
The great cheese giveaway began.
I mean, think about it that way too, like how we, to get back to our idea that in Wisecrack we're curious humanists or whatever, like, do we want to live in a society where when the government has a bunch of bad cheese that no one else wants, that's probably not that healthy and probably sucks, we're just like, oh, feed it to poor people. Let the poors have it. Although you probably make some good queso out of it, to be honest. Thanks for being here, guys. We might still make 666 before it's over. So, like the stream, text a friend you like and say, hey, check out the stream. There's this guy. His name is Michael. He doesn't really have any discernible talent. He's kind of a fugly commie. And then he watches videos by more talented people and talks about them. And they're going to be like, holy shit, I got to get there.
And today in California, needy people lined up to get the surplus cheese.
As the cheese flowed to the underserved, it became
Hi, richest country in the world. Let's make poor people wait in line for cheese in the snow. Because we're not like Russia.
a symbol of the welfare experience, and soon government cheese was cropping up in movies and hip-hop lyrics by artists who grew up on the stuff.
Oh.
After that government cheese, we eating steak like powdered milk and government cheese.
God damn it. Now we're going to get demonetized. I'm just letting everyone know. I'm going to get an alert on the VOD, and it's fine. It's worth it, maybe, because these are great songs. We're going to get demonetized.
What else is a thug to do when you eat cheese from the government?
By the way, I'm not allowed to actually play much of those songs because there's like a copyright infringement if I do, and even though it's fair use, they probably will flag me and I won't make any money off this video. So we left a giant playlist of all the government cheese songs in the sources.
Damn, now Johnny's playing like cool rap songs. He's getting better. Guys, I
Okay,
feel like
but
we're having a
how
good
did we
effect.
end up with a surplus of literal caves full of highly processed cheese in the first place? And while we're at it, why did I drink so much milk as a kid? Like,
Tell
why
me.
were there like
That's
5
so
of
gross.
these in my refrigerator at all times? My mom would give me a big glass of milk in the morning, and then I would go to school and be served a carton of this stuff while also reading the best-selling kids novel at the time, which was about a
shit.
girl's face.
Did anyone else read Face on the Milk Carton? We had to read it in school. Also, I remember getting in the lunch line in school and we had milk in like bags, and you would pick your own, and there would be like equal shares of normal milk, strawberry, and chocolate. And honestly, like at times, other 10-year-olds were ready to kill to get ahead in the line to get a chocolate milk or something like that. I was kind of into the strawberry stuff, but shout out to anyone also almost got in violent altercations as a child to get a tiny bag of milk that you shoved a straw in with a flavor you liked.
Face on a milk, and then I would get home and my mom would give me more milk for dinner. And along with this milk, I was served a message about calcium, about how milk was vital for strong bones.
Milk, the best bone building food.
Matthew, thank you for being here.
Calcium.
That makes
Glad you're here too.
a day.
I always drink plenty of milk.
Turns out that my mom and school
Mellow
did this
Jello, that's the
because
dream.
They were lied to for a very long time. And that's what this
Also, remember, there's people with green names. If you're like, I want a fucking green username, you can get those as well. And you can even become Lord of the Chat. Those are people that are members of the channel. Mellow Jello is currently Lord of the Chat. We're getting close to 666, guys. If you want to make Satan proud, like the stream. Let's get it going.
video is about. The story of milk in this country shows us how far the government will go to protect certain industries, even at the expense.
My wife's not home, so I can really
Americans
yell
the truth
666
about what
today.
they're eating. It's a lie that gave us billboards of Austin Powers and Stone Cold Steve Austin with crusty milk mustaches.
That's aged well.
So let me show you how we, at least in America, got brainwashed by milk.
If you're from another country, I know many of you are, what was milk like there? Because growing up in America, especially in my generation, milk was just fucking everywhere. So I want to know, if you are from another country, what was like the milk culture when you were growing up?
It's the only milk I drink. An important food for the health of the nation.
I'll take a milk.
Water's so much better. I feel like I didn't drink a cup of water on its own until I was like 16 years old.
Okay, so Before we get into this baby, I need to thank today's sponsor, which is one I actually use.
I want to see what it is.
Copilot. Copilot's a platform that is designed to make you more consistent with your workout. There's so much focus on fitness being. Thank you, Copilot, for supporting this video. Let's dive in to milk.
We had a meeting yesterday about sponsors and new sponsors for ads or whatever. We have this one we filmed. It's this ramen company that makes these like kind of healthy-ish instant ramen things. And then the company sent us all this info and they pay their workers well. They give them paid time off, 401k, 100% of healthcare. And I was like, this kind of whips because I'm totally fine telling you all, here's a discount code for some pretty good instant ramen that's healthy from a company that pays their workers well. There you go. Whoa, news alert from Vox. R. Kelly just sentenced. For which crime this time? Obara's from Nigeria. Your mom said it was a waste to drink milk without cereal. In the UK, they had free milk till Thatcher stopped it. Oh my God, of course. In Brazil, pretty similar. Yeah, it's the protein ramen, guys. We got that protein ramen.
I'm not anti-milk.
Guys, I'm seeing 660. We're almost there.
Milk.
Someone
Milk,
keep
in
track.
fact, is
If we hit
pretty
666, it's
magical.
happening.
Milk is the
Like the
first thing
stream.
that we drink when we're born. It literally keeps us alive.
Do it for Satan.
And if you want to talk about evolution and human civilization, like milk was a huge part of this. We started domesticating animals and realized that the fatty, nutritious milk meant for this baby.
Guys, we're so close. Just make it happen. Will it? Wait, we're at 667?
I saw 667 for a moment. Now I'm seeing 662.
Okay, I'm seeing 662. Did we get it?
But
confirm it.
Weren't able to digest milk after childhood. They didn't have the energy.
It feels not real if I don't see it. So if anyone saw 666, let us know. I want to get back there. Come on, guys. Just if you haven't liked it, like it again.
Especially another animal's milk. But
should I do it? Were we there? I missed it. What's the move, guys? What's the move? 662. It's just like, oh, it went down again. 657. Guys, why did someone see 483? What is happening? Quit edging and get the numbers up, Burn, said letter W. Okay, I'm going to do a tiny one, but I want to get back there. 666, but we need to do better. So I'm pulling back there. Someone sees 657. Let's keep going.
The beautiful thing about human bodies is they can change. Over time,
someone's
milk
fucking with us.
A key source of sustenance for people living in certain parts of the world, like Northern Europe. They relied on their animals during cold, harsh winters. They couldn't grow crops. Same with the nomadic people in like the Sahara who relied on milk during hot summers. And doing this for a few thousand
relied on milk during hot summers. Just imagine, it's a hot summer. What's for lunch? Milk. I'm so sweaty. It's so hot. Oh, I drink this milk.
In years, their genes actually changed. Suddenly,
Thank
they
you,
had
Brian.
Enzymes that could help break down and digest milk. Like they forced evolution.
It is crazy though, Henry, that some people are seeing like 500s and 400s and shit like that.
Yeah, I wonder what's up with that.
Yeah. On our count, we're in the, we're still like 650 range. Should be, someone saw 696. That's crazy. If we see it again, we'll get there. As always, like the stream. Thanks for being here. We love milk. We love Satan.
To make them tolerant to milk. Good for them. And that is why this map exists.
Guys, I mean, anyone who's just like, oh, we're going to watch Johnny Harris and not see fucking maps for days. I knew we were getting a milk map, but when the video started, I thought to myself, how will maps help explain milk? And in my head, I was like, I really don't know. Yeah, this is great. Guys, this guy can find a map for anything. There should be a Johnny Harris challenge where we just like write in just random word associations and he has to find a map for it.
There's some weak knowledge on how this map was made, but it captures a true point.
Oh, Xavier says, hey, Michael, those people are looking at the likes. They're not paying attention to the views. Yeah, so that's what the lower numbers are. So now we get it. I'm back at 660 on my end. If I see a 666, I will do a full-on Satan thing.
Which is that everyone around the world digests milk differently. Like the bluer your country is in this map, the more people can digest milk. So yeah, you've got Northern Europe with like 80 or 90%
obviously
of the
Northern Europeans can do that.
Lactose. And because of those nomadic tribes that got used to drinking milk, that's why Niger is blue here. Meanwhile, in places like Asia, most bodies drink milk and they're like, dude, WTF, why are you putting baby food?
And that's probably, there's so many reasons that I love like Asian cuisine, flavor for one. But a thing I also love is that I don't do dairy well. and there's not dairy in most Asian food, which I love.
In my adult body, we don't digest this after the
We're
age
just
of
so
6.
close.
Get it
This is
out of
crazy.
here. Humans would find a way around this by taking the digestive enzyme.
I'm not looking at the numbers because a watched pot never boils, but I'm learning about digesting dairy. Let me know your relationship to dairy in the chat. I'm not a dairy boy. I can sometimes have a little bit, but I'm not a big dairy head.
I'm from a cow's belly called rennet and mixing it with milk. This would start the breaking down of the milk. And then they could put it in caves and let it ferment. And soon you're storing your milk. And you're also making it kind of delicious. This is the birth of stuff like cheese and yogurt. We also turned milk into things like butter, which would last longer and is undeniably one of the most delicious things that has ever been invented by humans. But raw milk, the stuff right out of the cow.
Okay, we're there now. I see it. We did it, guys. We're consistently in the 666 zone. Welcome to the 666 stream by Dark Lord Henry. Guys, Henry's a deep Satanist.
Whoa,
we're
what?
here doing it. Guys, everyone, Henry is in a cave right now. There's the blood of various animals around him.
I
There's
thought
like
I was going to have to work for like 3 more years before I got to here. Whoa.
Yeah, guys, he's the. We love to do it. We love to get there. We did it together. We did it with Johnny. Let's get back to this. Let's get back to Johnny. Thank you, Johnny.
Consumed by anyone besides like kids.
And then it went down.
Frankly, that wasn't the safest thing to do because milk goes bad really quickly. When it sits around.
Whoa, Devil's Advocate gifted memberships. Thank you, Devil's Advocate. Also, what's more satanic than the devil giving gifts? Showing that really maybe Dark Lord vibes aren't that bad.
It becomes a cozy feeding ground for microorganisms, which again was great for me.
And seriously, thank you for donating memberships, guys. It's a cool thing to do, and it's nice someone that sacrificed your milk to Henry. That one's crazy. That one's crazy.
Cheese, but kids drinking this stuff was kind of risky. That all changed when this guy found a way to heat up milk and kill off all the dangerous.
Is this going to be Louis Pasteur?
Pathogens. It made it way safer and way easier to extend the shelf life.
Whoa, Dale said that Castro crippled Cuba because of his dairy obsession, despite having no dairy exports. Say the world's largest ice cream shop. That's crazy.
Called it pasteurization, which was named after the guy's last.
Hot take, guys. I think ice cream's gross. Now that we hit 666, I'll lose you all. I don't like ice cream. I think it's kind of gross. I just think it's a gross thing. If I'm at a restaurant and I have a dessert option, I'm not going to have ice cream. I think it's just bad.
Name? Like, am I the only one who thought that pasteurization came from like the cow's pasture?
No, Johnny. Everyone knows about Louis Pasteur.
No one else thought that. I'm literally the only one who.
I don't believe him, to be honest. I think that's a bit. We all do bits. There's no universe where someone as educated as Johnny Harris didn't know about Louis Pasteur.
Okay, cool. So, despite all of these problems, milk ekes by from being canceled thanks to pasteurization, and now kids can keep drinking it. Okay, the evolution and digestion part of this video is now over. Let's get to the economics and the government policy, and now it's the United States in the 1900s.
See, but like Johnny Harris can do videos on like economics and culture, and no one's like, you beanie-headed commie.
Has given humans new food options. Like
Paul gets me. I'll just say that. Paul Wallstrom gets me.
Margarine, which threatened to compete with butter. Dairy companies realized that they needed to defend their product. They needed to prove
Mellow
that
Jello
butter
also gets it.
Was better. So they start doing science. This is the era of dairy science. It gets pretty juicy. Like this study that shows that when they gave dairy to rats, they actually grew stronger and larger. And it must be because of a vitamin inside of the milk, a new concept. Let's call it vitamin A. A because it's the first vitamin.
Holy shit. They found out what vitamins were from giving milk to rats. That's how we invented vitamins. And vitamin A is called vitamin A because it was the first one they found. I swear to God, this isn't a bit. I didn't know that. Oh, Marcela Castro, thank you for commenting live from Tijuana. Fun town. I haven't been to Tijuana in a while. I've had some it seems like a fun place. So Marcella, thank you for commenting. It means a lot that you're here. And Marcella, I'm jealous of food that you have access to in Tijuana that the rest of us don't have access to.
We discussed.
Let it in the comments. If you knew this about vitamins, let me know. Cause I just want to know if I'm an idiot, but like, I always thought this is real too. I know I just criticized Harris for doing this. But I always assumed that the letters of vitamins had something to do with like a chemical compound in them or something like that. Yeah.
So yes, this is where vitamins came from. Like, we didn't have vitamins before 1912. And so now dairy companies are loving it. They have a scientific paper that says that milk corrects dietary deficiencies. And quote, and this is a little aggressive, is the greatest factor for the protection of mankind. That doesn't sound sincere.
The greatest factor for the protection of mankind is guns. Everyone knows that. Oh, Christopher from Costa Rica. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Or biased in any way. It sounds very scientific. The greatest factor for the protection of mankind. Dairy companies aren't going to be asleep at the wheel, while other forms of...
Wait, Marcella, this is a specific question, and you're in Tijuana. There's been some places that have opened in Los Angeles that say they do like a Tijuana style taco, and some of them do flour tortillas, like a flour tortilla with carne asada and beans. Do you think that, would you associate a flour tortilla with Tijuana tacos? I'm just curious, guys. This is a specific question I'm asking, but I'm curious. Let's learn more about vitamins and milk.
Nutrition and fat try to displace them. So they form a cooperation, a council, the National Dairy Council, that promotes all things dairy. And they start to build a strong message to the American people that dairy isn't just a nice to have, it is scientifically proven to be vital for your health. But let's keep some perspective here. Animal milk went from being something that humans couldn't have beyond the age of 6 to something that some of us developed a gene to be able to digest, to then something that was like a hotbed for pathogens, and we solved that with pasteurization. But now, in the early 1900s in the United States, milk was a magical, perfect white
Well,
drink.
Moises said flour tortillas are not really Mexican. I think it's regional, Moises, because there's a place I get tacos sometimes called Sonora Town in LA, and I guess that in Sonora, flour is... do you know anything about this, Henry?
I mean, like in the El Paso Juarez area, I'm
Yeah.
used to it from like both flour and corn about equal.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, Texas, you guys have good Mexican food there, and you guys know some stuff. So yeah, this is okay. So Marcella says those are more for burritos and tacos, but it's not unheard of. Great, that's good to know. But this is okay. So as we're in the Harris hole, thanks for being here. Thanks for liking the stream. Great example of how deep, like, ideological functions can go in the government, such that governments will find ways to be like, you should eat this thing. It's good for you because it's economically beneficial for us. I mean, we've seen this with corn as well, and the overproduction of corn in America and stuff like that. So like, not to be conspiratorial, but it's wild to think about all the various periods in American history where certain foods were pushed on us, and science was created around these things for reasons that were not just the betterment of our bodies. It's scary. So yeah, let's learn more.
That could cure us. All of this was happening right in time for a moment that would change everything, both for the world, but also for milk's place in it.
It is not an army we must shape for war, it is a nation.
During World War I, the soldiers were struggling. They were sick, they were malnourished, but lucky for them, the United States was ready with a perfect product to...
I want to predict that we get to a commercial or something where the milk lobby says that milk is why we won the war.
Improve their health.
Milk? We need more milk. Never enough milk to go around.
We were now able to condense milk into a powder form. Now it could last for years on a shelf without refrigeration. This really helped milk level up. Now the magic drink was a magic powder that could help our men in uniform fight the bad guys. Milk was now associated with patriotism and freedom and liberty and America. Man, if you want a way to like make your product popular and famous.
Copelia says, Mexican here. Flour tortillas are more frequent on the north of the country, while corn tortillas are more common from Bio all the way to the south. Thank you. That's so interesting. And then Iliu says, corn-based tortillas are more common in the center and the south of the country. Flour usually used in the north. This is great. Thank you for teaching us things, guys. I really appreciate it.
Let's just tie it with like America. So now with their big new customer, the United States government, farmers fully shifted their businesses to dairy. They needed to meet this demand. But the war ended. The men in uniform came home, and these farmers were left.
Oh, that was World War I.
With a massive oversupply of dairy.
Adam Curtis is great, and Fam just brought this up. If you guys haven't watched Adam Curtis documentaries, do it. I would say, Henry, you can disagree or just offer a different one. I feel like it's still hypernormalization is probably the best place to jump in.
Yeah, I
and
like
then maybe work back from there.
hypernormalization. I did like Can't Get You Out of My Head. I feel just because it's addressing stuff that people may be more familiar with because of, like the immediate addressing of conspiracy theory and individualism. It does that might appeal to people, but yeah, hypernormalization is a good one as well.
Yeah. So watch Adam Curtis docs. Let us know which ones you like if you're in the chat. Eduardo's from Honduras says flour tortillas are super popular, specifically used for something we use called baledas. That's great. I love the tortilla talk. Thanks for being here. We're still in the Harris hole. Still like the stream. We can always get back to Satan. Why not? And let's keep learning about the relationship between the American economy and international war and milk production and marketing and advertising. Bitter Lake's really great.
The government does hurt the big patriotic dairy industry. So instead of telling dairy farmers to like go back to producing less, they convince people to drink more.
Rich in all the
Actually, we could Curtis hole because a lot of the Curtis stuff, some of it at least, is on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm for that.
And B vitamins of whole milk.
Let's do it. Curtis hole soon, guys. If you're on the Patreon, or if you're on the Discord on the Wisecrack Live, let us know if there's Curtis clips you like, or find some on YouTube and we can Curtis hole it.
Relationships between dairy farmers, the United States government via the Department of Agriculture, scientists, and advertisers. It is a web of relationship that cements milk's place in our culture. It is the
This
reason
is good.
why
This
in
is
the
what I
90s
want from
was
Johnny.
drinking like 5 cups of milk.
He's in his bag
milk
these days.
Becomes an advertiser's dream. A magic white liquid that is scientifically proven to be the key to our children's health and development. And this message had a very strong ally at the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Sam said, who is this YouTuber again? Is Johnny Harris. Johnny Harris, formerly of Vox. He's Johnny Harris. He's a singular entity on YouTube.
Culture.
And we're in his hole.
With the dairy industry. So it's like after World War I and the U.S.
Letter W,
gets
I will
involved
ask.
with these campaigns.
If I find out how to ask.
The reason I want to show you this stuff from like the 20s isn't because I want to give you a history lesson. It's because I want to show you how the U.S. Department of Agriculture behaved, how it supported the dairy industry, how it
Curtis
pushed a lot of
Cavern. I like
propaganda.
that.
Because when you see it here in the 20s, 100 years ago, you'll see the version of today.
Oh, Beatmaster is telling us that the next Harris is out on Nebula already. I'm so curious. I need to learn more about Nebula. I feel like it'd be cool if we were on Nebula, but I also think that there's so many ins and outs of the parent company that maybe we couldn't. CIA Johnny for sure. Shouts to Tom Nicholas for a good video about this stuff. Someone said, what's the channel name? Just Johnny Harris. This guy's on that level. Okay. Continue liking the stream. It means a lot to us. Thanks for being here. We like you guys a lot.
Which I'll show you in a moment. And you'll see those connections. And you'll be like, wow, not much has changed. And it will kind of blow your mind. A little foreshadow. Anyway, look at this thing. So we have this education milk for health campaign. This is effectively the government telling the people what they deem as the healthy thing for everyone. There were milk songs and plays and posters and this terrifying clown.
A milk play? Oh, Choo Choo the health clown. Yo, no.
The milk clown is here.
Guys, imagine the milk clown showing up. You're just sleeping and you hear a rustling and you're like, oh, it's nothing. I'm home alone though. And you look up and just fucking Cho-Cho the health clown's at the edge of your bed, just like pouring milk on you. Oh, someone should make a Blumhouse movie about that. That's so scary. Oh, Beatmaster says you can't ask to be on Nebula. They have to ask you. Well, now I feel like shit. If they asked us, I don't know.
Brush your teeth and drink your milk. By 1937, kids are supposed to be drinking 1 quart of milk a day.
A quart of milk a day?
The video I made about the metric system. We've got measuring vessels around here. Okay, it is 1937 and the US government wants our children to drink how much milk?
Does anyone still drink milk? No judgment. Let us know in the chat if you still drink milk.
Children, and if I ever gave them this much milk.
Whoa, Johnny has children. That's interesting to know. He's low key, right? Because he doesn't wear his like wedding ring in videos, so he kind of keeps that. But I guess isn't his wife also a YouTuber? Someone said this the other day, and I acted like I knew what they were. Okay, I'm gonna confess something, and this is in that interview. What's up, Nelson? That I did that I'll post the link to. And the guy asked me about Johnny Harris, and he was like, "And you know his wife?" And I was like, "Yeah." I just lied. I lied on camera because I didn't know anything about this, but I just like went to the like, yeah, for sure. So if you know anything about his wife or his show, I'm curious about that. Not in a weird way. People have coffee with their milk. Oh, Oh, a lot of people still drink milk.
I feel like a criminal.
2 gallons
and
a
here's
week.
the USDA doing studies to scientifically prove that this is legit. It's not just
Yeah, I'm not a soy boy. I'm an oat boy these days.
advertisers. Look, the government is doing studies and publishing things, and now they are weighing children and measuring them to show that after this big milk campaign, the kids are taller and way more. And here they are.
Nick says, is there a name for this style of YouTube video? I guess it's like a Vox style thing. I think Harris really has kind of his own thing because it's not quite like a video essay. Okay, people are still drinking milk.
A bottle of milk and 2 graham crackers for lunch. Like, it truly is.
Did you see that lunch? A bottle of milk and 2 graham crackers. Jesus.
Becoming the substance for children.
Let kids have
look
vegetables.
At this. The smoking gun.
Okay, guys, this is a digression. If anyone here is from France, I'm curious about this. I was listening to a book the other day, and part of this book dealt with like school lunches in France. Preschool in France, supposedly, they are already having multiple course meals where you have like a vegetable, you have like a soup, then you have a vegetable, then a piece of fish or meat, and then for your dessert course, you get like fresh fruit or cheese. And they bring it out in a coursed way. And literally 4-year-olds are eating like that. And these aren't private schools. These are like public French schools. They're eating multi-course meals, vegetables, proteins, grains, all this sort of shit. Dude abides, have a good day at work. If anyone here is from France or has lived in France, I mean, I think that's true. I don't know why they would lie in this book, but it just blew my mind because American school lunches are but those school lunches are horrible. Yeah, Danny Villa says, I'm French. Yep, that's true. Listen, I don't know if you like living in France or maybe there's things that are up and down. Know that you probably have the best school lunches in the world.
Proof of it all. One of these rats had milk and the other didn't. These rats are the same age and each of them have the same feed except
Bourdain did do a thing about that where he helped make it.
Healthy body. Okay, but this isn't just advertising. This is like real science, right? It's like South Dakota State College.
Wait, so you're telling me the government fund research that looked really legit for the purpose of advertising? I don't believe it.
Which is a real college, and the U.S. Department
I
of
am jelly of the
Agriculture
French kids' lunch.
cooperating. 2 authoritative institutions.
French children's lunches sound better than what I eat most days.
Right? Well, like any science that is.
Okay, Tanya's in Puerto Rico, they had rice and beans, vegetables, fruits for dessert, milk juice. That doesn't sound bad.
Is being done
compared to some of the crap I ate.
Interests here. It turns out that the people doing this science at South Dakota State College were receiving a bunch of money from the state legislature because South Dakota is a big dairy industry. So they fund this dairy science program, and suddenly all of these really positive dairy studies are coming out. That, again, the USDA, who wants to protect its rural farmers,
like the stream, if you trust government funding about what you should eat,
is helping support as well.
Or like the stream if you think French school lunches sound great.
Positive science means more dairy sales, which means supporting local rural economies, which means supporting America, which is so
MDMA said, which
depressing.
country has the best prison food? It has to be like Denmark or Sweden or something like that.
Yeah, I know this was like in the 20s and 30s, but like this same thing happens today. Science that is funded by certain industries with a certain agenda, and it just sort of muddies everything. Okay, but what about the economy? What happens when the Great Depression comes and now Americans
Yeah,
can't really
pizza was the
afford
best thing at school lunch in
Usually,
America.
this would hit the dairy industry and they would have to scale down because now the demand for milk is way lower. But farmers weren't going to let this happen. They were becoming like royalty. And so they respond by going on strike, dumping a bunch of milk into the streets.
I mean, this is like, okay, to be clear, this is cool. It is cool that the farmers went on strike, but imagine you're just going to town that day to like pick up a prescription or get your groceries, and there's just a bunch of dudes pouring milk fucking everywhere. It's like a weird bit out of a Jackass movie.
Artificially limit supply and drive the price back up. And
the gosh darn Batman says everybody's a gangster until the cafeteria worker cuts the pizza into squares.
Just be like, F you government, where are you at? So to fix this, milk's new loyal ally, the US government, steps in and passes a law that says that
in Portugal, yeah, I just have to read this one comment. Fabio Santos says, in Portugal, soup, meat or fish with rice, pasta or potatoes, no dessert. Jesus.
the price of milk dips below the cost that it takes to produce it. Instead of free market economics, where the dairy farmers would just make less of it, the government would step in and cover the cost difference. Let them keep making their milk. And now the government is really messing with the invisible hand, the
So,
market that helps
we can't have healthcare,
supply
but
and
they'll pay
demand
for the
link
milk.
up with each other at the right price. Once you start doing that, it's really hard to go back. So then add in another world war where even more farmers got into the milk game for him. And by the 50s,
Mariana said in France, oh, where is this? Oh, no, sorry. Mariana, you said you had to starve, you play for school. Where's the France comment? Johan says in France, they often pour manure in front of local government offices when they're mad. The French know how to protest.
milk is cemented into the American psyche through years of creative storytelling, shaky scientific messaging, war, and a government who is more and more influenced by dairy farmers. The pattern repeats itself in the 70s. The economy is tanking.
Milkshakes aren't bad, though. I kind of like a milkshake every now and
who's here
then.
to save them? Jimmy Carter.
There's a dream of a country wide and
Isn't Carter? I mean, in my mind, Carter's like the one president who like wasn't super terrible. James says milk is our healthcare, Michael.
Jimmy did what American leaders before him did. He bowed down before the massive dairy lobby and
Damn,
bailed out
Jimmy.
farmers once again.
Milk boy.
Giving farmers an equal break.
Like the stream, if you still think Jimmy Carter is probably the best president recently.
Time in the form of $2 billion going into the dairy industry to guarantee them high prices. And, crucially for our story, to buy the extra milk that nobody wanted. Suddenly, farmers who were broke had loads of cash, and they were incentivized to produce as much milk as possible because they knew the government would buy it from them. Okay, but wait, what is the government doing with all this milk? Milk spoils really fast. Okay, says Jimmy Carter and company, instead of buying the milk itself, let's also buy a bunch of stuff that uses milk. Stuff that can be stored and forgotten about, like butter and powder and cheese.
Butter and cheese are fun though. Thornback says, okay, how do you not like ice cream but like milkshakes? Listen, as the French would say, you know, we are paradoxical in our subjectivity, both in itself and for itself, for ourselves and for others, caught in the gaze of a subjectivity not our own. And because of that, we are a complex dance of competing forces. So that's how I would justify that.
So the dairy farmer producing tons of milk and cheese, and the government at one point was buying a quarter of all cheddar cheese in America. But unsurprisingly, when your big customer is the US government who is buying your cheese
Royal Knight said, Michael, I keep liking the stream. I end up undoing the like button. I'm sorry about that.
As America, you're not going to actually make a great product. One woman who grew up on this stuff wrote about it in an essay and described it as like poor man's Velveeta.
Government cheese make the best grilled cheese you'd have never had in your life.
And this is really...
Was Steve Harvey ever young? I just like forget that Steve Harvey was young, but he stayed consistent with his suits.
sad to me because dairy can be really cool. Like,
if you are not from America and you don't know who Steve Harvey is, once 3 months today, just YouTube like 90s Steve Harvey stand-up or something like that and just spend the day with Steve Harvey. You won't be mad at me.
I see France with a tradition of like brie and like camembert, and like Holland has Gouda. And we've got this American cheese, pasteurized, processed.
This is maybe me at my most American. I don't eat burgers a lot, you know, because of the old heart health. American cheese is the best burger cheese by far.
Cheese,
and yes, Steve Harvey had hair.
More like a cheese like.
Because a lot of us had hair at one point. Okay? Let's get to 1,000 and we can see what I'm talking about.
Substance. And isn't a product of like culture and like refining a craft. It's a product of modern industrial policies meant to protect farmers. And it's what helped the United States cement its place as the home of some of the worst cheese in the world.
Where do you buy government cheese?
You got to be on a special mailing list.
Government.
Some great clips in this one. We got some Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg. Fantastic.
Cheese is also the special ingredient.
So this is how we ended up with a surplus of horrible cheese.
They do say that in the menu. Also, Dude Abide said this way long ago in the chat and I didn't acknowledge it. Babylon's on Paramount Plus, guys. You know what to do. You know what to do. Get a Paramount Plus, Dono, Baldman Solidarity. Get a Paramount Plus password. Don't pay for it if you don't already have it. Steal it from someone and just watch Babylon. And let's have a special Babylon stream or something where we just talk about Babylon because you know it's all I care about in this world.
Sitting in stone caves in Kansas. By the 70s, there was 200
Thornback. I had Korean the other night,
cheese and
I had corn cheese.
Here. And this is why the government started giving it away to food banks and to America's poor, the underserved that wouldn't be
Adam
buying
H
this
gets
cheese
it.
in the first place, so they weren't throwing off the other customers and driving the price down.
No, Jaggers, you're totally right. Like Harvey, his takes Once he became like a advice guy, things really went off the rails.
That's partly because Americans
Guys,
on
gosh darn
welfare were
Batman's trying to break me,
non-white,
but I won't let them.
African, Asian, or Native American descendants, meaning they're way more likely to be lactose intolerant. See the second.
How about this? If we get to 1100, Dodo Padope or whatever, I'll let Henry on the screen put some pictures of me in high school and college when I had hair longer than Johnny Harris. Guys, I had dirty blonde locks just hitting my shoulders, blowing in the wind. It was amazing.
Section above about evolution and the milk gene and stuff. This cheese also flowed to schools and prisons. And now we're in the 90s.
I like that equation between schools and prisons. There's something there. Someone said, how high should I be for Babylon? I kind of want to say not high or just a little high, but disagree in the chat.
It's my childhood where I'm drinking a lot of milk every day. And this is where the whole government advertising science thing gets a lot worse, in my opinion.
My mom just always instilled in me drink.
I totally forgot that there was a whole Britney Spears milk thing. Jesus.
Drinking milk is awesome, as having 3 glasses of milk a day helped us to really stay lean and fit.
The thing about the government getting involved in setting the prices for stuff is that once you start, it's really hard to go back. For some markets, that's okay, like insurance and electricity utilities. The government should be involved. But milk? Like, it's just a thing that people can choose to buy or not. Like, it should be left to the invisible hand to decide how much people actually want, how much they're willing to pay, and therefore how much firms should produce. But instead, the US government had created a total...
Tyler doesn't believe me out the hair. I'm going to prove it one day. I'm going to prove it. Letter W, when I imagine Burns as a teenager, I imagine undercover police officer. No, everyone thought I was a drug dealer in high school, and I didn't even do drugs. I just had long hair, and I wore clothes I got from thrift shops, and I was tired all the time because of delayed sleep cycles, and my high school started at 7:15, so I was just constantly exhausted and looked like shit, so everyone thought I was a stoner, but I wasn't at all. But, you know, what are you going to do?
Totally distorted with a bunch of fake demand, and in the process incentivizing farmers to make tons of milk that nobody wanted. And the problem is with these policies is the surplus was just getting bigger and bigger. At one point, the government literally had to
too much milk.
Start paying dairy farmers to stop producing milk, to slaughter their herds. But even that wasn't working. So what's the next solution? Well, they tried what they did in the 20s. Instead of getting the farmers to produce less, let's convince the people to drink more. So we pass a law that allows all the dairy farmers to pitch into this big fund that they can use for advertising and research, which are kind of becoming the same thing. And the USDA,
based Johnny,
the Department of Agriculture, becomes like the referee to make sure that like they're not like doing any false advertising. And this is where we get campaigns like this.
Milk, it does a body good.
And in the 90s, the unforgettable Got Milk campaign.
Who shot Alexander Hamilton?
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Got milk?
The people who coordinated this were freaking brilliant.
I totally forgot that every friggin' celebrity in the friggin' world did one of these friggin' commercials with that friggin' milk on their lip.
Didn't Michael Bay direct that commercial? I'm gonna double check.
Oh, he probably did. He was a big commercials guy. And I'm just, yeah, wow. Yeah, Matthew Rotera, get a 7-day free trial. If you get Paramount Plus, here's all you gotta do. Get your free trial, watch Jackass Forever 5 or 6 times, watch Babylon 3 or 4 times, cancel it, you're good to go.
They turned Got Milk into like a cool thing.
If there's a version of me, guys, if we were earlier in the stream, I'd want to pause it on everything and see who could guess who the people were the quickest.
That every celebrity wanted to be a part of, to the point where they're taking like way cheaper rates for these campaigns just because
Shaq, Alex Trebek, or Alex Trebek, rest in peace.
Variety of different celebrities.
I just saw James Derby in the chats at that commercial. Jesus, you did it. We were all thinking it. James did it, guys. James did it. James is maybe the first ever Lord of the Chat that didn't get there through lovely gifts of memberships, but shout out to everyone with green usernames. I love you so much. Oh, and Beavis and Butthead.
All appearing in magazines and ads for milk. Not a particular brand of milk, just milk.
Well, Mr. Miller told me he never drinks milk.
What the fuck? Mr. Miller's arms just fell off? That's a crazy commercial. This old man's arms just fell off his fucking body. That's intense. That's horrifying. And his reaction is he just watched an old man's arms get ripped off, and his reaction is like, gotta drink milk.
And these cool celebrities are telling us a story that milk builds strong bones. It has calcium and other essential nutrients, and that it even helps you lose weight.
Milk your diet, lose weight.
Meanwhile, they're funding all of these studies that are validating their claims, and the USDA standing by, just letting it all happen. So this is why in the 90s, my mom had like a bunch of these in her refrigerator.
Wow.
And I can't blame her. Like, what are you going to do? The government authority on nutrition is
total
telling you that you should
Tarantino
drink
thing.
milk. You're seeing it on all these billboards and magazines. You have real studies talking about calcium and bone health. This really embedded itself. But if there's anything we've learned is that no matter how much these forces push milk on us.
Okay, guys, we only got a few minutes left for this one, but we got to wrap up because it's one. This has been Wisecrack Live. Thank you for being here. If you want to throw out any what are yous in the chat, recommendations of things that you're into right now, you're loving, do that. If you want to praise Henry in the chat, please do that because we love Henry praise. We'll be back next week. Might have a guest next week. We have some other guests coming up as well. If you haven't liked the stream yet, like it on the way out. And remember, on the VOD, you can leave comments and stuff like that. We can keep the conversation going. Check out our Patreon if you haven't. Join our Discord. Keep the conversation going there. Thank you so much to y'all. This is such a fun part of the week. Love hanging out with everyone. And I guess drink some milk today or something and then take or something. Don't drink milk. It's gross. But also, guys, we will see you next week. Can't wait to be back here.
See y'all next week.